Remember all those conspiracy theories about how Barack Obama was not going to leave the White House after his second presidential term was over? He was, as some said, going to declare martial law and suspend the 2016 election, or he was going to violate every check and balance that our country has in order to maintain control. And then, of course, Barack Obama had never mentioned anything that would suggest he was going to do that. And he peacefully left on his helicopter, turning over control to President Donald Trump. And if there was ever a case to be made for an exception in turning over control to such a buffoon, it kind of would have been Donald Trump. And yet Barack Obama, as predicted by any rational, clear-thinking person, very, very peacefully left. Donald Trump has now retweeted the suggestion that he should get a 6-year term instead of a 4-year term because he was robbed of 2 years from his presidency by the Mueller probe. And he referred to those 2 years as being stolen from him. I know you're saying, wait, what's Stollen? Not stolen, Stollen, but we'll get to that in a second. There's this disgusting guy named Jerry Falwell Jr. He's the son of the late Jerry Falwell, who, in my mind, is most known for blaming 9/11 on abortionists and gays. And Jerry Falwell Jr. tweeted, and Donald Trump subsequently retweeted a tweet which says, after the best week ever for Donald Trump, no obstruction, no collusion, New York Times admits Barack Obama did spy on his campaign and the economy is soaring. I now support reparations. Trump should have 2 years added to his first term as payback for time stolen by this corrupt failed coup. So first of all, no, that's not constitutional. And if we care about that, then the answer to this is obviously no. But secondly, this is a political statement from a guy whose church is tax exempt because churches aren't supposed to be doing politics. Now, is doing politics on Twitter a violation of the nonprofit charter that churches have? I don't know for sure. The legal experts would have to fight it out. But the IRS should definitely be looking into this. But Trump sees it and he retweets it. And then he decides to take the idea of those 2 stolen years to the next level. Falwell tweeted that on Saturday night. Sunday, Donald Trump tweets, despite the tremendous success that I have had as president, including perhaps the greatest economy and most successful first 2 years of any president in history, a laughable claim, they have stolen 2 years of our presidency, collusion, delusion, that we will never be able to get back. The Stollen typo is so ridiculous and so embarrassingly hilarious that Donald Trump ended up deleting the tweet. But fortunately, we have it for you anyway. But let's get back to the primary issue here, because the Stollen typo is funny, but there's actually a really important thing here. Is there a chance Trump will try to not relinquish control of the White House whenever this national nightmare ultimately ends, either in 2 years or in 6 years? Nancy Pelosi is now concerned that that's something Trump will do. She's concerned that if it's a very small margin by which Trump loses in 2020, Trump will not relinquish power or will try not to. Trump has actually said that the only way Democrats can beat him in 2020 is voter fraud. He said he likes the idea of the possibility of doing president for life in the U.S. the way that China has put in place that possibility under the current administration. And we would, quote, maybe try it sometime. So as I've said before, I believe that law enforcement agencies of the United States will not allow Trump to stay in power beyond his actual electoral mandate, period. But every single person who, when Barack Obama was president, was stoking the fears of Obama's not going to leave, why are you now silent? Because there was nothing to suggest that was something Barack Obama was going to do. Trump has actually floated the narratives that he can't lose unless there's foul play, that combined with his malignant narcissism and weaponized ignorance actually gets us closer than Obama ever was to a situation where the president tries to retain control beyond when he's actually elected. But then the most disturbing part of it is tons of Trump's followers agree that he should get an extra 2 years. The most important thing here is not Trump's misspelling of stolen as Stollen. It's not that Trump has actually floated this idea of, maybe president for life would be nice and I can only lose by voter fraud. Trump has a significant number of these brown-nosing sycophants who think it's reasonable for Trump to get an extension to his presidential term. They claim to be constitutional conservatives. They pray at the altar of the Constitution as if it is a sacred text. And then, of course, for Trump, they make an exception. And this may end up being particularly relevant when it comes to the statute of limitations on obstruction of justice. Donald Trump is very heavily incentivized to stay in power for as long as possible by legal means, by borderline means, or by illegal means. Not that it would be successful, but he's incentivized to do it specifically to avoid indictment on obstruction when he is no longer president. We'll be talking with some legal experts upcoming on the show about that and the statute of limitations on obstruction of justice and that very important footnote in Robert Mueller's report. I believe it's footnote 1090 or 1091, which says whether or not a president is impeached for the stuff in the Mueller report, that would not preclude or be a substitute for indictment once the president is no longer president of the United States. This is the slide towards, it's this gradual slide towards despotism, or I think better said, would-be despotism. Hopefully we prevent it. We know it's what Trump would love. Let me know what you think. I'm on Twitter at @Pakman. The show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show. We will take a quick break. What a big news weekend, which I am glad to be here to tell you about upcoming. Today's program was made possible in part by BetterHelp.com/Pakman. BetterHelp is an online service that gives you access to your own experienced, fully licensed therapist via phone, video, and text. When you see a therapist in person in their office, it can take 3 weeks on average before you're able to get in for your first appointment. But with BetterHelp, you're matched with a therapist who fits your needs within just 24 hours, and you get the same professional service. And the best part is that BetterHelp is less expensive than seeing a therapist in person as well. Plus, you will have totally unlimited access to the therapist. You can talk to them whenever you want on your phone or computer. And because BetterHelp believes in what they do, they also have a full money-back guarantee. If you're not happy with the service, you'll get a full refund, no questions asked. All of their therapists go through an extensive vetting process and are required to have at least 3 years of experience before joining BetterHelp. So you know you're getting someone who's fully qualified to help you. But if you don't think that your therapist is a good fit, BetterHelp lets you switch to someone new at any time. If you've been thinking about getting involved with therapy, you should really check out BetterHelp. Just click the link underneath this video.